disappearance of Geraldine Inchworm Largay. In the summer of 2013, a 66-year-old retired nurse named Geraldine Largay was living out a dream. She'd spent her whole life wanting to hike the Appalachian Trail, all 2,200 miles of it, from Georgia to Maine. Her friends called her Inchworm because of how slowly and carefully she walked. She wasn't fast, but she was determined. Her husband George supported her every step of the way. He'd meet her at road crossings, bring her supplies, take her to motels so she could shower and rest. They were a team. By July, Jerry had walked over 1,000 miles. She was so close to finishing. On July 22, 2013, she left a shelter called Poplar Ridge Lean-To in Maine. It was early morning. She waved goodbye to 2 other hikers and headed north. A few hours later, she stepped off the trail. Just for a moment, just to use the bathroom. She never found her way back. The Maine wilderness is dense, thick with trees, no clear sight lines, and Jerry had always struggled with navigation. Her hiking partner had left the trail earlier due to a family emergency. Jerry was alone. At 11:01 a.m., she tried to text her husband. In some trouble. Got off trail to go to BR, now lost. Can you call AMC to see if a trail maintainer can help me? Somewhere north of Woods Road. XYX. The message never sent. No signal. She climbed higher, hoping to find reception. She tried again. And again. 11 attempts. None went through. By the next day, she'd set up her tent about 2 miles from the trail. She had food, water, her journal, and she waited. Rescue teams searched for weeks. Hundreds of volunteers, dogs, helicopters. They came within 100 yards of her camp, at least 3 times. The dogs couldn't pick up her scent through the dense forest. Meanwhile, Jerry wrote in her journal every day. At first, she wrote about hope, about hearing helicopters overhead, about believing someone would find her. By day 15, her tone changed. On August the 6th, 2013, she wrote a final message. When you find my body, please call my husband George and my daughter Carrie. It will be the greatest kindness for them to know that I am dead and where you found me, no matter how many years from now. Her last entry was dated August 18th, 26 days after she got lost. 26 days of waiting. Her body wasn't found for 2 more years. In October 2015, a forester surveying land for the U.S. Navy stumbled upon her tent. Inside, they found Jerry's remains in her sleeping bag, her journal, her phone. She was less than half a mile from a road, a 10-minute walk. The search and rescue community has a rule. If you're lost, stay put. Don't wander, wait for rescue. Jerry followed the rule. She did everything right, and she died anyway. The death of Elisa Lam. The Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles has a reputation. Since the 1930s, it's been a place where bad things happen. Suicides, murders, serial killers like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, once lived there. The building sits on the edge of Skid Row, surrounded by poverty and despair. In January 2013, a 21-year-old Canadian college student named Elisa Lam checked in. She was traveling alone, exploring the West Coast. She'd visited the San Diego Zoo, bought gifts for her family at a bookstore. She seemed happy, excited, but something was wrong. Within 2 days, her roommates complained about her behavior. She was leaving strange notes on their beds, locking the door and demanding passwords, acting erratic. The hotel moved her to a private room. On January 31st, Elisa was supposed to check out and head to Santa Cruz. She never made it. For weeks, guests at the Cecil complained about the water. Low pressure, strange taste, dark color coming from the taps. On February 19th, a maintenance worker climbed to the roof to check the water tanks. He found Elisa Lam's body floating inside, naked, her clothes drifting beside her. She had been there for 19 days. The police released elevator footage from the night she disappeared. 4 minutes of grainy security camera video that would become one of the most analyzed clips on the internet. In it, Elisa enters the elevator, presses multiple buttons, peers out into the hallway, hides against the wall, steps out, steps back in, waves her hands in strange, jerky motions, talks to someone or something that isn't visible. The elevator doors don't close for nearly 3 minutes. Later, investigators discovered she had accidentally pressed the door hold button, but that didn't explain her behavior. Elisa had bipolar disorder. She was supposed to be taking medication, but toxicology reports revealed she wasn't taking her full prescription. Her family later told police that when Elisa stopped taking her meds, she would sometimes have episodes, hallucinations, paranoia. She would hide under her bed, convinced something was after her. Detectives believe she climbed to the roof during a psychotic episode, found the water tank, climbed inside. Maybe she was hiding from something only she could see. Maybe she thought the water would protect her. The official ruling, accidental drowning. The investigation closed. The hotel changed its name, but people still watch that elevator footage, still looking for answers in those 4 minutes of footage, still wondering what Elisa saw. The disappearance of Andrew Gosden. On September 14, 2007, a 14-year-old boy named Andrew Gosden left his home in Doncaster, England. He was supposed to go to school. Instead, he walked to the bank, withdrew $200, about $250, and bought a one-way train ticket to London. He never came home. Andrew was quiet, intelligent. He'd never missed a single day of school in his entire life. He loved video games and metal music, bands like Slipknot and 30 Seconds to Mars. He was the kind of kid who didn't cause trouble, didn't rebel, which is why what happened next makes no sense. That morning, Andrew left the house in his school uniform at 8:05 a.m., but instead of catching the bus, he went to a nearby park and sat on a bench. He waited until his parents left for work. Then he went home, changed into a black Slipknot t-shirt and jeans, grabbed his PSP, left his phone charger behind, left $100 of birthday money in his room, and vanished. At the train station, the clerk offered him a return ticket. It would have cost less than £1 extra. Andrew said no. He arrived at King's Cross Station at 11:25 a.m. He was captured on one CCTV camera, walking through the station with a black canvas bag over his shoulder. That was the last confirmed sighting of Andrew Gosden. What's haunting about this case isn't just the mystery, it's the silence. No ransom note, no body, no trace. Police didn't review the CCTV footage from King's Cross until a month later. By then, most of it had been automatically deleted. There were possible sightings. A boy matching Andrew's description at a Pizza Hut on Oxford Street that same day. Someone who looked like him getting off a train 5 days later. But none were ever confirmed. His parents put money in his bank account for years, hoping he'd withdraw it. He never did. In 2021, 2 men were arrested on suspicion of kidnapping and human trafficking in connection with Andrew's case. After 19 months of investigation, they were cleared. Back to nothing. Andrew would be 32 years old now. His father, Kevin, still gives interviews, still hopes, still waits. Every day we think about Andrew, he told reporters. 16 days missing would have been enough trauma for a lifetime. Never mind 17 years. Why did he go to London that day? Was he meeting someone, running from something, just looking for an adventure? No one knows. The only thing we know for certain is that a 14-year-old boy bought a one-way ticket, and nobody knows why. The deaths of Chris Kremers and Elisa Lam. In April 2014, 2 best friends from the Netherlands arrived in Panama. Chris Kremers was 21. Elisa Lam was 22. They'd just finished college and wanted to do something meaningful. Learn Spanish, volunteer with local children, explore Central America. They were staying with a host family in a small mountain town called Boquete. On April 1st, they decided to hike a popular trail called El Pianista. It was supposed to be an easy day hike, a few hours up, a few hours down, beautiful views. They never returned. When the host family realized the girls hadn't come back, they contacted police. A massive search began. Dutch authorities flew in, dogs were brought. Helicopters scanned the jungle. Nothing. 10 weeks later, a local woman found a blue backpack along a riverbank miles from the trail. Inside were sunglasses, $83 in cash, 2 bras, Lisanne's passport, a camera, and 2 phones. The phones told a terrifying story. On April 1st, just 6 hours into their hike, someone dialed 112, the international emergency number, and then 911. The calls didn't go through. No signal. Over the next 3 days, they tried to call for help 77 more times. On April 4th, Lisanne's phone died. Chris's phone was turned on and off intermittently over the next week. But the wrong PIN was entered every time. The camera was even more disturbing. The first photos were from April 1st. Daytime. Happy. The girls smiling on the trail, posing at lookout points. The next set of photos was taken on April 8th at 1 a.m. in total darkness. 90 flash photos in 3 hours. Most showed nothing, just blackness. But some showed strange things. Rocks, sticks, plastic bags tied to branches, a mirror reflecting the flash, and one photo showed the back of Chris's head. There was blood in her hair. Weeks later, scattered remains were found along the riverbanks. Bones, a pelvic fragment, Lisanne's hiking boot with her foot still inside. The conditions of the remains were inconsistent. Some bones were bleached clean, others still had tissue. Forensic experts couldn't agree on what had happened. The official conclusion was that the girls got lost, possibly fell and died of exposure. But questions remain. Why were the night photos taken? Were they trying to signal someone, scare off an animal, document something? Why was the backpack found intact and dry, miles from the trail, as if someone had placed it there? Why did the wrong PIN get entered into Chris's phone after April 5th? Music fades slowly. Panama closed the case. The families buried what remains were found, but the photos are still online, still analyzed, still debated. 2 best friends went for a hike, and something happened in that jungle, something we may never understand. 4 stories, 4 ordinary days that became something else. A woman who followed the rules and waited for help that never came. A young woman whose mind betrayed her in a hotel with too much history. A boy who bought a ticket and walked into a crowd. 2 friends who took a wrong turn and vanished into the jungle. These aren't stories about evil people. They're stories about how quickly everything can change. How the line between a normal Tuesday and a tragedy is thinner than we want to believe. Maybe that's what makes them so hard to shake. Because there's no monster to blame, no lesson to learn, just silence where there should be answers. If you made it this far, thank you. If any of these stories stay with you tonight, let them remind you. Tell people where you're going. Check in with the people you love. Don't assume you'll always have tomorrow, because sometimes you don't. I'm Jacob, and I'll see you in the next one.